Are you tired of the endless big, intense open worlds that seem to dominate the gaming landscape? Well, don't worry, as in this video we will be looking at the 10 best games that will captivate you from start to finish, and will also provide the same level of action combat, detailed environments, along with beautiful immersive graphics. These games are pretty straightforward and will give you a blast while playing. So let's look at the first game on my list. Number 10, Shadow Warrior.
Everything happens for a reason. That reason is a fully loaded shotgun.
This one is a trilogy, means you have 3 amazing hack-and-slash action games waiting for you. Shadow Warrior is a first-person shooting game, well, not exactly, as the game also offers you several different weapons, along with awesome guns with insane powers. Your main goal is to travel to different locations and just kill a bunch of different creatures. I am not going to go too deep into the storyline, but all 3 game stories are basic and provides a simple base for the overall gameplay. Also, Shadow Warrior is an old gaming series, but in this video, I'm talking about the reboot and newest sequels. The amount of fun that you are going to have across all 3 games is mind-blowing. The main character is funny and full of humor who keeps the story engaging with his jokes and dialogues. The soundtracks and music are some of the key elements in these games because they provide an immersive hack-and-slash experience. It's always cool to see different creatures getting killed by different weapons in multiple ways. There's also a fair level of difficulty that you can adjust according to your need. As for me, the best thing I liked is the music or soundtracks playing in the background while I slice through waves of enemies and manipulate my powers for different kill shots. There is no open-world concept in Shadow Warrior. You are pretty much dropped in a specific location, and from that point on, you just need to move forward while making your way in between the enemies. Some of the other highlights are the environments, cutscenes, and art design. You will see a bunch of different beautiful environments throughout your playthrough. Number 9, Aragami 2. This game is the best mediocre ninja game. It has everything that most of us want from ninja games, such as powers, stealth, Japanese elements, and more. In the sequel, players take on a role of a vigilant assassin who happens to have the power to control the shadows. In fact, there's a whole village where our fellow assassins exist. The main mission is to solve the mysteries and conspiracies that threaten the existence of the homeland. Aragami 2 offers the players several different methods and even distinct passages to tackle certain situations and obstacles. It entirely depends on the players whether they want to kill the enemies and finish the mission in stealth mode, or they can also choose to engage the guards in an intense sword combat. The graphics and visuals are beautifully crafted, featuring detailed environments. The art style leans heavily into the game's dark mystical atmosphere, with vibrant use of light and shadow to create a complete shadowy shinobi world setting. All the elements in this game perfectly blend with each other to provide an all-out immersive assassin experience. Also, I forgot to mention, but the game is not that easy. It provides a nice challenge according to the requirements of the players. From lowly foot soldiers to powerful sorcerers, players will face a wide range of adversaries, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Overall, Aragami 2 delivers a thrilling blend of action, stealth, and storytelling, set in a Japanese shinobi-style world. The game will provide you with cool moves and tactics, along with a sense of difficulty to make sure that you are always engaged and won't feel bored. Number 8, Sifu. This is a game that everyone should at least play once in their lifetime. There is no big intense open world with side quests, rather it's just straight up action. From the first to the last mission, your only job is to beat down all the enemies and make your way towards the final boss. In fact, just by talking about this game is making me feel that I should play it again. The game is all about martial arts or kung fu moves. You as a main character is a master of martial arts and wants to avenge your master's murder. So, you must kill all 5 bosses. Each of these bosses have their own movesets, arena, and story importance. The highlights of this game are the different martial arts moves and the environmental objects that you can use to kill the enemies in multiple ways. Along with this, the death in Sifu is not simple. Instead, you will grow old each time you die, means you will start to lose efficiency, agility, and attack power. So, despite all of this, you must finish the game in one single playthrough. Throughout your playthrough, you have the option to unlock secret doors and shortcuts which will come in handy if you die and restart. Not a lot of people talk about it, but I will say it's astonishing how Sifu managed to provide so much while being a low-budget double game. It all comes down to your gaming skills in this game, kind of like Get Good in Dark Souls. The difficulty and addictiveness in this game is nothing like I have seen so far. The key features in this game are the fast-paced martial arts, the newest death mechanic, level designs, and environmental killing methods. I highly recommend playing this game. Number 7. Hollow Knight. I don't think I need to say anything about this game. Hollow Knight is an insanely popular Metroidvania game with a touch of platform elements. At this point, almost everybody knows about the beautiful environments and difficulty level of Hollow Knight. I personally consider this game among some of the best Metroidvania games of all time. However, I won't recommend playing this if you're not a fan of the genre. The story is really good, which keeps getting better over time. Most of the basic enemies are relatively easy, or we can say that the game provides enemies from easy to challenging. The issue becomes critical when you fight the bosses in this game. Some players also says that boss fights are too difficult and kind of unbalanced as they require impeccable timing. As for me, I will say that if you plan on getting into this game, then brace yourself for a lot of grinding and just keep getting better. It's not your normie level platform type game. The best thing about Hollow Knight is the completion time. The game manages to rival some of the best third-person single-player games, as it also features a story that will take you over 25 hours for full completion, not to mention the side stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that the game is a suitable choice for players who prefer peaceful games, as Hollow Knight features a lot of dark environments, lore, and blood scenes. The game features a big open world, which is not your typical single-player open world. You have the option to freely roam around and stumble upon items and bosses, but the overall game is still Metroidvania. You may feel slightly bored, but if exploring is your thing and you also like challenges, then Hollow Knight will be a good choice comparing to other open world games. Number 6. Prototype. Now, just to be clear, I'm only talking about the first installment. This one is actually an open world game. So, if you ask me why I put this game in this list, then it's simply because of a main character's superpowers. I suggest to not skip this one if you are not in the mood of playing open world games. Despite being a single-player game, Prototype manages to provide the players with an all-out amazing experience. The powers in this game are nothing like I have seen so far. Apparently, you can transform your hands into different mayhem weapons. Also, the main character Alex Mercer is straight up awesome. If you consider games like Spider-Man and Infamous boring, then you can surely skip this one. Unlike other open world games, Prototype is so much fun as you're a superhuman means it won't take a lot of time getting from point A to point B. The main story is also compelling and engaging, as our main character was first a normal human and then gets his powers because of scientific experiment. Prototype is also a highly underrated game, and not many players know about it. This is one of those games who provides the players with insane powers and makes him the strongest, which means that the game lets you do anything. The major highlights are the cool powers, storyline, and the amount of fun you can have by just free roaming the entire city. The game deserves a remaster rather than a sequel. Number 5. Metal Gear Rising. The word boredom will never pop up in your mind, as Metal Gear Rising combines all the basic features, perfectly giving the players an unforgettable experience. I honestly think that a lot of players don't know about this hidden gem, or maybe the original fans of the series didn't like this one as it's a standalone edition, which is not the Metal Gear series is about. This hack and slash gem is an over-the-top thrilling experience that blends action-packed combat along with some cool BGM soundtracks and music. There isn't much of a storyline here. It's much rather a fast-paced combat game where your only goal is to kill a bunch of enemies, like literally slicing through them. The level of difficulty is balanced except for the final boss. I'm sure it will take a lot of time for some of you to finish the game, as the final boss have a tremendous health bar and multiple phases. Even though I was surprised when I first played this game, I never would have thought that Metal Gear games were this much fun. Nevertheless, Rising Revengeance is not related to the original series, as it's a spin-off. The game was released in 2013, but it is still a decent choice to play in 2024, as the visuals and soundtracks are awesome. And you don't need to know anything about the previous one. This is a good choice if you don't have too much time to dive into big open world story and just want a cool hack and slash fun. The difficulty makes the game engaging, as it kind of forces you to complete the game even after dying several times. The cutscenes and visuals also deserve a lot of appreciation. I think the only reason we never got a sequel of this game is maybe because Hideo Kojima was working on some other gaming projects at that time and may not have the sufficient funds. Number 4. Sekiro. My all-time favorite from software game. Honestly, I'm not a fan of playing a game several times after finishing it, but I played Sekiro 4 times. This proves how amazing the game is. However, Sekiro is not for everyone. You may find that the game is not boring and there is no open world concept, but you will be troubled by the level of difficulty this game has. Pretty sure that it's not for those who have never played any From Software game before. The game is much harder than other Shinobi games, and even Elden Ring. Bloodborne is the only game that comes close to Sekiro. Personally, the Dark Souls series have more bizarre level designs where you can easily get lost in and have trouble finding your way. This is not the case in Sekiro. The game shows you straightforward ways and tells you where to go, but it's the enemies and boss fights where the problem gets real. The game's final boss is one of the strongest video game bosses ever. Let me know in the comments whether you have beaten Ishin of Ashina. My favorite thing about Sekiro is its environment and distinct areas. It's really amazing how the game takes you to several different locations, each with their own new enemies and boss fights. Personally, you will never get bored in this game, but will surely come close to quitting it after dying several times from a single boss. I suggest that if you're looking for a fun game that is not too much focused on difficulty, then you should skip this one. Some even says that once you're done playing this game, all the other games will never even come close to how amazing Sekiro is. The gameplay is beautifully designed and well made. Every fan of samurai or ninja games should try playing Sekiro at least once. Number 3. Devil May Cry 5. Now, DMC series is something that no one can ever call boring. The main character Dante is the only one you need who can easily make the game fun just by his awesome dialogues. My favorite elements from this installment are the cutscenes and the fights along with Dante's bike. Hack and slash is a genre that anyone can play despite it being their favorite or not. I mean, most of us love slaying a bunch of different creatures and cool play styles. So, if you haven't, then why not give Devil May Cry series a try? Honestly, almost all the installments are great with each having their own pros and cons. I just decided to put the 5th part from the franchise as it is more graphically and visually improved. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really play Devil May Cry games for their storylines. The main story just serves as a normal basic plot to keep the game engaging. It's the gameplay and cutscenes that make it a memorable franchise. Tell me who is your favorite character from the series. Also, as a tribute, I would like to mention the final fight between Virgil and Dante, which was a feast for the eyes. It's been many years since the first game, and the series started to gain popularity. So, if you're still having second thoughts about whether you should play these games, then my friend, this is your sign to get your copy and play the game. The best thing about DMC is that you don't actually need to play the series in chronological order. I even played the 4th one first, then the 3rd part, and finally the 5th installment. And I can say that I still had an insane blast and felt like I didn't miss anything.
Come on!
Number 2. Lies of P. This game is a compelling gaming experience that combines immersive storytelling, stunning visuals, and engaging gameplay mechanics to create a world where truth is a precious key element and the world is full of lies. The story in this game is something that I never would have expected from a Souls-like game. I really loved all the characters and how important each character was in the pacing of the story. All the NPCs have their own side story about their struggles and motives. For me, the ultimate best thing in Lies of P is its storyline. Just to give you guys a short description, I will say that you play as a puppet and every lie you tell in the game will fill your heart with human feelings, ultimately making you a human capable of emotions and feelings. It's a really touching story. You can choose to tell the truth in all the situations, but the game kind of forces you into making the right decisions, which most of the time indicate to standing with the truth option. The game is definitely hard, but it's not at a level of other From Software games. Nevertheless, you will encounter certain bosses that will take a couple of tries, but if you are an experienced player, then you will have no trouble defeating them. Customization is the best part, as the game lets you combine several weapons. Players must carefully navigate through the city, gathering clues, and unraveling mysteries while avoiding traps and deception from enemies. The graphics of Lies of P are captivating, with detailed cityscapes and atmospheric lighting that immerse players in the game's dark and mysterious atmosphere. Before I reveal my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Uncharted 4.
Get in that way.
Bright Memory. Dead Island 2. Number 1. Last of Us 1 Remake. Not exactly an open world, but a very big game. I'm insanely glad that I got the chance to play this masterpiece. Last of Us is a game that has everything in it. It's an all-out package. I don't think there's anyone here who haven't played the game. However, let me tell you something. If you are skipping these games just because they introduce zombies and post-apocalyptic setting, then you're really missing out on a lot. The overall game is more than what you see on the surface. The graphics and visuals are immersive that captivates the player's attentions, and the storyline is amazing, which shows the relationship development between the two main characters. You will see many different areas, and not just the usual destroyed buildings and suburbs. You can also try the second part, but as for me, it will never provide the same experience as the first one. The graphics and the introduction of new characters makes the second part worth playing. There's a fair amount of combat in the first part, which also provides a sense of realism. Multiple weapons and different ways to kill enemies makes the game engaging. You can switch between complete stealth mode or straight up guns blazing. All the traveling gives a beautiful immersive feeling, and the relation between Joel and Ellie is a cherry on top. I honestly admired everything after completing the game. However, I do agree that if you are in a mood for some light action-packed fun games, then this one is not a great choice. I suggest considering other games from this list. Anyways, this finishes our list of 10 games to play if you are tired of boring open worlds. All the games I have mentioned in this list are available on multiple platforms and even on PC, so you don't have to worry about owning a PlayStation. I know that I haven't included other awesome games, but I only had 10 spots in this video, so make sure to comment down your suggestions or any other favorite game of yours that I have missed. I will make sure to make a separate video about them. In the end, click that subscribe button so that you can get a notification whenever I post the best video game recommendations. Thank you, and I will see you later.